Oi Brasil, olha eu aqui de novo com mais uma entrevista maravilhosa pra vocês. E dessa vez a gente vai falar com o elenco de uma série bombadíssima da Netflix. Estou falando de You, ou Você. Sim, a quarta temporada já teve a primeira parte divulgada em 9 de fevereiro e a gente tá agora caminhando para 9 de março, onde vamos ter a segunda parte, a derradeira parte. A gente vai descobrir o final dessa história. Então eu bati um papo com o elenco, aliás, não só eu e a equipe do Gloss.com batemos um papo com o elenco. O lado sombrio, será que vai vencer? Dá uma olhada.
What do you want? Isn't it obvious? I want a friend. Someone who shares my interests. Someone I can finally tell all my secrets to.
Hi, Bruno.
Hey Penn, how you doing?
All right, how about you?
I'm good. So Penn, this season Joe is finally having a taste of his own poison. So how was it to you to flip roles this time?
I mean, for me, any new circumstance he can be in, any new sticky situation that's hard to get out of, I love because Joe is the most fun there in a way. He's the craziest, certainly. And then also, it's really rewarding to see the tables turned on him, I think, as a viewer. And for me as an actor, it was fun to just feel Joe. Like, I don't change the way I play Joe, but it changes depending on what he's experiencing. So it was, I think maybe I played with the comedy this season more than ever. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah. So some spectators sometimes get a little frustrated by Joe always getting away with his crimes. Does that ever bother you? Sometimes do you want him to get punished at some point?
Yeah, I want him to be punished, definitely. I want there to be justice. I think we all do. I think, the writers are always finding creative reasons for the supporting cast to not call the police. I suppose what they have on their side is that this is an era where public trust in police and other institutions is really eroding.
Totally.
We don't call the cops. Nobody trusts them. Wouldn't have worked in previous generations. But I think that's maybe the one thing to me. I'm like, just call the police. You don't have to like them, but call them. They'll work on this one.
So at the end of the first part, we finally discover the killer. At least it seems that we found out. Would you describe the relationship between Reese and Joe from now on?
Well, it's going to keep changing and growing and twisting in ways that people won't expect. I did have a lot of fun with Ed Speleers. I'm really looking forward to people's responses to him. I think people are going to love him. I think that's as much as I can say. I can't spoil much,
You directed the last episode. How was it for you to be an actor and a director at the same time?
I loved it. It was a lot at once. I mean, I took to it naturally. Here's what's crazy. We didn't have time for me to watch playback. Like I couldn't shoot a shot, then go back and watch what happened. So I had to trust. I'd ask camera, like, you think you got it? You think, okay, and sort of sound everybody like, we think, all right, I felt like I delivered on that one. All right, let's move on, That was just crazy. It was like directing with my eyes closed a little bit. So what I loved the most was directing my co-stars, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of co-stars, you're really good friends with your former Gossip Girl co-stars. Have you ever thought about inviting one of them to do a cameo on the show?
On the show? No, I hadn't thought about that. I don't know. I feel like it would break the fourth wall too much. But, if the writers thought that it would work and somebody was willing,
On the first part, Joe is trying to not get obsessed with Catherine. Do you believe that Joe is going to be able to fight that feeling?
Well, no. Like, what has history shown us? It has shown us that he's usually he's never able to fight the feeling, really. So no, I don't think he will.
Thank you so much, man. Hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you, you too.
I walk along the city streets you used to walk along with me.
This is over, right? Over?
How can I
But one last thing, the biggest and greatest.
Forget you.
No, you don't get to tell me who I am. I am not some cold-blooded psycho.
When there's always something there to remind me.
Hello.
Hey ladies. Hello. How you doing?
Good, thank
Good.
you. How are you?
I'm good. Better now talking to you guys.
Oh, you're Charlotte. Darling.
You're getting into a show that has established a base of fans, a huge base of fans all over the world. So how was it to you guys to be welcomed into the world of You?
I feel like the kind of interest is kind of on the internet, which I'm trying to avoid any comments. But all I know is that, you know, I think a lot of the time now with season 4 of this show that people kind of see our cast and are just trying to guess who's going to die first, really.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
It's morbid.
Yeah, it's pretty morbid. I think it's hard to engage with it, really, because your experience of making the show is so different even from when you're just watching it as a fully... like I've watched all the 10 episodes and I'm like, whoa, look at this show.
Yeah.
But it feels like really removed from your experience, and you know, you come into work and you do the bits and bobs and then you see these like memes online and it becomes this whole own thing online.
It's
and
completely
off
separate to what you did the year
in the
before.
fans' lives, and you know, it's the same for any, you know, you watch a TV show, it becomes kind of yours. And so now I'm just feel like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to understand that people watch this. Not because, I mean, obviously they watch it, it's brilliant, but to concept
that people will see us in it.
Yeah.
How would you describe Lady Phoebe?
Oh, well, I don't know why. Oh, Lady Phoebe, poor Lady Phoebe.
Bless her.
Lady Phoebe, I mean, she's, you know, on the surface this kind of bubbly, ditzy, quintessential blonde. But as we get to know her, you see that she's incredibly friendly and caring, and I see her as like a very lonely individual who is seeking a true connection with someone, whether it's platonic or romantic. And I think she's not a very good judge of character, apart from her friendship with Kate. I think that's the thing that really grounds her.
Yeah, I think that all of those things about their relationship is true for Kate. She's not maybe the best judge of character either. You know, neither of them have been given very good models for loving or for like connecting with people. But Kate is almost like the sort of other side of Phoebe. She's kind of icy, not very warm. Well, not warm at all. In fact, she's really rude to people. in the way that Phoebe is warm is the way that Kate is cold, I think.
And I always think Phoebe doesn't judge Kate for her coldness. I think that's something that she quite admires about Kate.
Yeah.
Kate is actually a little bitchy at first. Yes.
Are you kidding? Yeah. You'd be like, can I go home now?
But I love her. I want to know how there's like this sexual tension between her and Joe. So how do you think this relation will evolve through the season?
Oh, you'll just have to wait.
Considering that we only have watched the first part.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the first part, so you know that at least physically they get interested in each other, but I don't think they actually kiss at any point. So there's not like a romance between them, but they definitely have like some lusty feelings. But you have to wait and see whether that progresses any further.
And he's got a lot going on as well, so
he's busy. He's busy.
He's a busy guy, and she's very busy.
She's got a business to run.
They need to make time for each other.
Yeah, they do. But she softened a little. You start to see that.
And in this season, we see a lot of critics to the rich people, right? And that is a trend in Hollywood with White Lotus, Succession. And how do you guys see that? The critics from rich people, do you think it's fun? Do you think it's a little bit too much? How do you see that?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I think it's critical whilst also really like lavishing in the aesthetics of it. Like all those shows,
it's escapism, but like poking fun at that.
It's like you're enjoying the thing about it that you know you're also criticizing at the same time. You know, they buy these extortionately expensive clothes and you're like, ugh, but you're also like, oh, look at those. And it's kind of a strange thing. It's like a kind of enjoyment of it whilst also taking it down. It's a big trend, I agree. I'm interested. I think it's because that's just becoming more extreme. you know, the differences between people. So
It's like an extreme champagne problem.
Yes.
These series, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a good, is it night or day over there?
Night cry.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Do you really know what you want, Jonathan?
Kate, of course, I want you. But I can't have you. We all have something bad in us.
Not this bad.
Sweet, Jonathan. You have no idea, do you? So guys, you're joining an established series that has such a huge following. Were you fans of the show before? How did you come about to get into the You world?
I was a huge fan, massive fan, followed it back even when it was on Lifetime before Netflix took over and picked it up. And I've been following the series. So I was definitely fangirling the whole first 2 episodes.
How about you, Ed?
I obviously knew of the show. I think you would be having to live under a rock to not know anything about it. It was my agent Rebecca in the UK, who was a huge and still is a huge lover of the show. And she basically put it to me like, if this role comes up, you are 100% doing it. You're not even discussing it. You're doing it because this is going to be basically for her, but also a great opportunity. And obviously, once it came in, and I was having an understanding of who Reese was and the world that he was going to be a part of, it was for want of a better term, a no-brainer, really.
You guys play Riz and Adam. I think I wanted to know, is there a particular scene or element about these characters that really drew you in? And what's your favorite thing about them? What really made you want to play this role?
I mean, for me, there was a lot that drew me in. I mean, when Sarah Gamble pitched the full story to me and the full sort of character arc, I mean, it was like music to my ears. It's all the things that I'd been crying out for and looking for in a character for a long time, and the sort of role that hadn't necessarily come my way. So to be presented it in this way was a real honor. I don't know if I had a particular moment that drew me in, because I feel that Reese's story, it jumps about, but at the same time, it is incrementally increasing as he develops, and sort of more and more fun, happens as an actor, because I suppose the further we went with him, the more outrageous he becomes, the more freedom I had to play him, which, I think that's quite a key as an actor. You always want to feel you can be in a space where you can be as free as possible within the constraints that you're working with. And I felt that, on a daily basis. And that was down to Penn, that's down to the writing department, that's down to a wonderful crew. And I genuinely felt that with Reese. I wouldn't say there's one particular moment. I just felt I was allowed a space to be free.
I think that for me, I mean, I think Adam is so different than me personally, and I think that he just comes from a completely different background, a completely different social circle. So for me to kind of take on a character like that I hadn't really played before was really, really fun for me. And I think it's also really interesting to play a character who means well, and he does love, but he sometimes has an inability to communicate what he really wants and his truth, and the struggle between really loving somebody but not being able to fully show all of yourself. It was very interesting to me, the repressed guilt that Adam holds on to.
So to finish it up, you guys worked with Penn in front of the camera and with him behind the camera on the last episode. What was that experience like?
I was sort of in awe, really, of how he was handling it, because his performance and what he has to give as an actor is so detailed, so nuanced, and also so physical. It's an incredibly demanding role. I don't think people necessarily realize how demanding it is physically for him. To then be juggling that whilst, putting up with all our actors' insecurities, wants and needs, and knowing when to give us a no, when to allow us the space to breathe and to enjoy the world we're working in. He did it with such aplomb and such grace, in a way that I've not seen many directors who are just directing do. I was quite blown away by it, really.
Yeah, he did it with such an ease, and I think that he knows this show inside and out. The tone, the even from down to the what kind of frames to use for each shot. And so like I think it came very naturally to him, and he's such a giving scene partner that it translates into a very giving, gracious director with beautiful notes. I think he was incredible.
É isso, gente. Entrevista maravilhosa, hein? Quem diria que a gente ia descobrir tanta coisa assim com esse papo? Pois é, a segunda temporada de You, ou Você, chega na Netflix no dia 9 de março. Você não perde por esperar. Tá babado. Será que o Joe vai ter sua redenção? Veremos. É isso, beijo pra vocês. Não esqueçam de inscrever-se no canal, comentar, compartilhar, ativar o sininho. Se tá vendo no Instagram, comenta, salve e compartilha, tá bom? Beijos, até a próxima. Cuidado, vai que tem um Joe atrás de você. Ah!
I feel like I'm being followed.
You know what my favorite thing about love is? It gives you second chances.
You'll always be a part of me. Hi, Joe.